All the experiences that taught me, all the mistakes I made have gone into creating now a body of wisdom that I can share. My parents are both alcoholics. We grew up in a family that we loved each other, but we also were very destructive with one another. And so my parents, they couldn't communicate with each other. They'd get drunk and go into separate corners after screaming at each other. So, you grow up in that kind of family, and then you're supposed to be protective of your sister and kind and compassionate, and it gets confusing. My transition from the very first time I tried a drink or a drug, it was a 15-year evolution before I destroyed myself utterly.
Yeah.
I had that incident with my father. It had been going on for years. He knew, but at this point, when I was getting my younger brother high, that was a line too far for him. So out the door I went. All the dreams, everything that I thought I could be, that on that moment were no longer possible. I was at that time 18. So if I'm not going back to his house and I'm not going to go live on the street. So when I saw what my options were, there was a negative path of uh, dishonor, and there was a positive path with honor. And the military presented itself knowing full well that nobody wanted in at that time, and I could get in quickly and get what I wanted, and I did. I want to be medical, and I want in now. I went in not knowing what a SEAL is. There was, again, no one in my family had ever gone. I had no knowledge. And when I got into boot camp, they said in the third week, you can go to a screening test to become a Navy SEAL. And I'm like, well, what's that? Through the military, I was given the opportunity to pursue and became a Navy hospital corpsman. As the medic, I was the odd individual because in Vietnam, the hospital corpsmen were not allowed to have weapons because of the Geneva Convention. And so that had been altered once Vietnam was over because I was big guy. So I had the M60, which was the biggest weapon because I could carry it. And so I'm also the medic, and I was able to function really well
Oh,
doing both of those jobs. And over time, after experiences began to become memories that I didn't want to have, because you're looking to take life with extreme prejudice. That's what everybody in the military does. And you have to live with those actions. And when you are somebody that feels empathy for others and you got to shut that off, it becomes confusing. And then I'm chasing them away with alcohol and marijuana. And in the military, the alcohol would have been all right, but the marijuana was not. In the ninth year, 6 month, I was given a urinalysis and I failed, and that was the end. I got discharged from drug use from SEAL Team 1, and my life cratered. I had to restart life without any idea how to live as a civilian. Because remember, I left my parents' house, left high school at 18 and went in the military. I'm at this time 29 years old, and my entire knowledge base from 18 to 29 is based off of the military and how it functions, experience, and how do we help them move on into life in a way that they don't have to use drugs and alcohol. And by watching how they did it, that's how I learned to do it. I did smoking marijuana and having it just completely be a horrible experience. And that was 5 years ago.
yeah.
And it was probably the best thing that could have happened to me now. It was a 2 week period, and I saw in my mind's eye a handgun, a very specific handgun. And I was over at a friend's house during that 2 week period, and up on the shelf in his kitchen was the exact gun that I saw in my mind. And the connection was made so that I knew where I could come and get it. I can look back on it now, and it was such a spiritual experience because I had choice. I could have pulled the trigger. And for whatever reason, I ended up going to a beach where I grew up on, and I had the last of the marijuana, and I was going to spend the night, and then I was going to go and get the gun, and that was it. And uh, being a veteran, between that beach and where the gun was the VA hospital. And as I passed by, something turned the wheel, and I went in and put myself in the emergency room. And being a clinical therapist, I know what questions I'm going to be asked. I know what to say to get out of it or to get real with it. And I got real with it. And they circled around and they did me right. And you got to be honest with yourself. And I made the mistake of thinking that it didn't apply to me because I was special. And I'm looking at you going, you know what? I don't understand how you can take one hit off the joint and put it in the ashtray. What are you, out of your mind? I'm going to burn my fingers before it's done. That's when it's done. And that's the difference. So I cannot relate to people who are not drug addicts and alcoholics in that way with 12 steps. And then when is possible, go and make an amends, say you're sorry. The freedom comes when you go and man up